All right, looks like it's 9:02, so we're going to get started here. I want to welcome everybody. Um, this is the DryLink webinar on DryTAG, DryPHONE, and AirMAX BLE. And I'm so excited to roll these products out, including the DryLink ecosystem, as I believe connected products are going to change this industry. And a little bit about me, I've worked at Thermistor for 9 years, much of that time with Phoenix. I'm currently the business unit leader, and I've always loved technology and innovation, and this path has really led me to DryLink. Okay, a few little housekeeping things. This webinar is being recorded, so at the end of the webinar, we will make sure we send it out to everybody that registered. Also, my contact information will be on the last slide, along with a spot to show you where you can get more information regarding the DryLink ecosystem. And then feel free to ask questions as we go along using the chat box. And then at the very end, we'll have a time for questions and answers. Jenny in the marketing department is with me, and she'll read off some questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. And I'd like to start by saying, why are we using Bluetooth technology? And some of you may remember in the past, there's been an attempt to use Wi-Fi to do remote monitoring, and it wound up being expensive, cumbersome, and you really had to have cell service or Wi-Fi service or your whole system was shut down. Now with Bluetooth, you just open the app, the data starts flowing, it's easy to use, it's not expensive, and you can use it without cell service. You can collect the data by Bluetooth, and then when you have cell service, the data can go to the cloud. So that's why we use Bluetooth. Okay, a few little fun facts to start off. Phoenix has logged over 1 million hours of usage on the DryMAX XL in our cloud already. And another fun fact, Business Insider predicts that total business spending on IoT solutions will reach $6 trillion by 2021. Now at Phoenix, our goal is to make the contractor's job simpler and definitely more profitable. Okay, so here's today's agenda. I'm going to show you the 3 new products. And then we're going to talk about the existing products in the ecosystem, which is the DryLink app, DryMAX XL, and the drying report. Then we'll talk about how the new products add additional benefits to DryLink, and then we'll talk about the future of DryLink. Okay, and then if I'm doing my job, by the end of this webinar, you'll know the products in the DryLink ecosystem, understand the value to the contractor, and you'll understand why the future of water damage is connected products. Okay, so we'll start right off with the newest additions to the DryLink ecosystem, and we'll go into more detail in a little bit. The first one is DryTAG. This is a Bluetooth beacon with an accelerometer. It can give you on-off functionality. It can also give you tracking information in terms of the last known location of the beacon. And it has other functions as well that we'll review as we move along. The AirMAX BLE, which is taking the functionality of the DryTAG and building it right into the AirMAX at the factory. And I'll talk about why there are advantages to doing that. And then the DryPHONE. So the DryPHONE, you can think about as, first of all, it's optional. But if you do use it, it allows for remote monitoring. You can actually take your daily readings remotely, and you can get alerts using the DryPHONE in real time. Okay, so what I want to do is start kind of with the end in mind, which means we'll start with drying report, because that's really the output of the whole system. I want to just show you a little bit about how you access the drying report and how you customize it for your company.
Is now joining.
The drying report, you can see in this first image on the left-hand side, right over here, we have this send record. So if you're actually in a job, so this is the Phoenix demo job, and you're on the drying data tab, so this is where you go to take your daily readings, there's this prominent button here, send records. If you click send records, you're going to get a link, and your phone is going to try and use its native sharing, so you can select from text messaging or email, and you can send that link to whoever you want. And once they have that link, they'll click on it and go to a website, and that will be updated in real time, which I'm going to show you here in just a minute. The second and third images are showing you how you would customize the report for your company. So to do that, you go to the account settings tab, you go into the My Team area, click on that. there's a ellipsis up in the corner under my team. There's a drop-down menu. This one says change logo. If you're doing this for the first time, it would say add logo, and that'll just take you to a website where you can add your company's logo. Okay, now I want to show you what a drying report looks like. So this is a drying report that we created. We went to, we got permission from Paul Davis to use this. Obviously, you can see their logo up there. We went to a drying school, and I just want to walk through this a little bit and show you. I'll work from left to right. These are navigational tabs that'll jump around. The first one is just the project summary, which is where we're at. And then you go down, and these are all just different chambers that you can click on to quickly navigate. And as we move across the screen, you can see the Phoenix logos up here. Here's the company information. Over here, we have the start time and end time, insurance information, the job duration. And here we have, you can use this for imperial or metric measurements. So to show you, you can actually do this in real time. So if I click on meters, if you look below, they all change. So if you're in Canada, maybe you might want to make use of this feature. At any rate, I'll put it back. And then on the right here, we have, you can create a project summary PDF, which would just be this top section here, or you can click here and get the full report. And this is obviously where your logo would go if you were customizing the report. Now, as we scroll down and look at the project summary, we have all the chambers listed here. And as we work across, you can see there's the loss type. So you select the category and class in the app. The wet square footage, and we'll show you how you enter that in the app. It's pretty easy. And then this is showing you the percentage wet based on the wet square footage and the total square footage. And then you get the volume of the chamber over here. So this is all your chamber information. And as we move down, the nice thing about this report, and again, this will update in real time for somebody that has the link and is watching the job. So you can see the affected area tab is selected, and all these dots are when people took readings, and this is showing the GPP of the affected area over time. Now, if I click here, this is going to show me the moisture readings. So this would be from the walls or the floors or cabinets. And again, you can see over time they're going down. When you hit the goal, you get a white circle around here. It shows the goal is achieved, and you can see the legend down here to explain what colors mean what. And then you have a tab for the outside and unaffected area. It's just keeping track of that.
Is now joining.
Okay, so that's, well, one more part of the summary is the equipment used. So this is a summary of each type of equipment and how many job days. So if we look at the axial air mover, they had 16 of them on the job, and they in total were used for 64 job days. Now we can calculate by the minute, but what we put on the report is job days, and they're calendar days. So if on any calendar day a piece of equipment is used, it counts as a job day. And then you can enter job notes down here. Somebody put a job note, says owner's school. And I'll click on my navigational thing to show how that works. And this is taking me to the first chamber, which is the living room. You can see it looks similar. You know, you've got the loss type and the square footage and the volume. But what is different here now in the readings is the air readings are now showing the affected area reading, which we saw above, and then the two dehumidifiers outputs. So you would expect, obviously, the difference to be the grain depression. You can see how those trended over time. And you can see, like, you can take more than one reading in a day. It just kind of, it makes the days are the same distance apart, but it just puts the dots closer together if you take more readings. Okay, and then if you look at the equipment used in any particular, well, actually, these are the readings of a particular chamber. So this shows each reading taken, the date it was taken, the time, the user. So this would be the user of the DryLink app. You can see somebody named their phone DryPHONE L, and here's Larry C. So two different people took these readings. And you can see here's the outside conditions, affected, unaffected. Here's the 250 max readings. And if we click the arrow, it'll go over and show us the DryMax XL readings. Anything with an asterisk is a manually entered reading. Then, as we scroll down in this chamber, we had two measurements on one on a plaster wall, one on drywall. You can see the goals and how they trended over time, and then they turn green when you've reached the goal. And then as we go down here, you can see in a chamber, we're going to show you each serial number of each piece of equipment, including the model, the type,
Is now
the
exiting.
name, and the job days. So that's for each chamber. So that's what the drying report looks like. And now I want to show you if you did create a PDF, which I've done here, so we can look at it. This is what it looks like in a PDF format. You can see it's very similar. I'm not going to go over the whole thing again, but as we scroll down, you can see the charts. You know, obviously you can't click between them. So now
Is now joining.
they're slightly smaller, but still color coded in the same manner. Here's the equipment used. Again, it's a little bit smaller to save space, but this is what the report looks like in a PDF format. Okay, so now that we've seen that, what I want to show you is I want to show you how you would create a job in DryLink, add equipment to that job, and then I want to show you how to take a daily reading. And this is actually quite simple. So we're going to start from the home screen, and you want to click on the jobs button. So here's all the active jobs. In the lower right corner down here, we want to click on the plus button, and we're going to add a new job. So I'm just going to type in Phoenix Demo, and there's a description field, which I'm going to skip. It's optional. When you start typing the address, you can see that Google Autocomplete helps you out. I'm just going to select the address here at Thermostore. You can put in some insurance information, put the claim number. These are optional fields. And once you have that in, you could add a contact, you could add a job note, you could create the job, but we haven't created a chamber. So I'm going to click Next Chambers because I'm going to create at least one chamber for our job. And I'll name this chamber Test. And then we'll say it's category 2, class 2. We'll put in some dimensions into our chamber. We'll say it's 30 by 10 by 8. The program automatically calculates our floors, walls, and ceilings, which is nice. So now all we have to do is put in an estimation of the percentage wet for floors, walls, and ceilings, and the program will calculate the wet square footage for us. And once we're done with that, we could enter a chamber note, we could enter another chamber, or we could create the job. And since for our purposes, we only need one chamber, I'm just going to click on Create Job, and then it will take us, so now we've created a job. So here on the overview screen, you can see all of our information. So the next step would be click on the Equipment tab and add the equipment. So again, we're going to go in the lower right corner, and we click there, and it automatically, if you have smart equipment, you can see it automatically selects the equipment that's nearby. This shows you the signal strength. So we're making it so easy to set up a job because we're saying this must be the equipment you want. Now, when you put it in a chamber, you got to tell it what chamber. So this, we only have one, the test chamber. So I'm going to click Assign to All up here, and then the program, and when I hit Finish down here, the program is going to put all of this equipment into that chamber for us. You'll see it populate here. And now we have our equipment on the job. The next thing we're going to do is go to the Drying Data tab and take our first daily readings. So again, we go down here to the lower right, and we're going to click the plus button to take this reading, and a date pops up. Now you could backdate this, which is a cool part. If you have smart equipment, you can actually pull real readings from our cloud from a previous date, but I'm not going to do that for the demonstration purposes, so I'll back out of that. Click plus again, just select, I'll just hit select here. It automatically collects the outside reading. I have to do the unaffected area manually. We'll be able to automate this in the future. I'm just going to type 75 and 50, click done. And then the next step after we click done is going to be to go into our chamber and take the readings, and those are going to happen automatically. So there's the unaffected, it calculated GPP for me. So I click on the test, and since I have smart equipment, it just gets the readings for me. I get a warning about the grain depression, but we just turned on the dehumidifier, so we know it's going to take a little bit of time. We wouldn't normally do it that quickly. But so we have our air readings. It's really that simple to take readings. You could add an HVAC reading, you could add a chamber note, but again, for our demonstration, we're just going to click done, and there are all our air readings. Now the next step would be to go to the moisture readings, and so we'll go into this same chamber. Now we haven't automated these yet, but we are going to have a product to do that. But today we're going to just manually enter these. So we're going to go into moisture readings, and we just add a moisture point. You could also add a chamber note there. So I'm just going to add, let's see, I'll add 3. I'll add a drywall one. You can see the drying target is 12, so it names it wall 1 drywall. And then we'll do one more like that. So I can just hit save and add another. And then we'll do one, so it's wall 2 drywall, and we'll put one into wood. So we'll say it's a wall again, but we'll change it to wood. So now the drying target is actually 10. So now we have that. So we have 3 moisture points. Now we can just go enter our readings manually. When we have dry sense in the future, we can automate this. But for now, we'll just put in the value. I'm going to say that the drywall reading is going to be 20. And click on the second one here and also make that one 20. And then for the wood, we'll say the reading is 16. You can see it's giving us some progress bars, things like that. So now we're done with taking our moisture readings. So if we go back to our drying data, you know, there's different things we can look at. I'll just show you all your dehumidifiers you can see on a graph. See, there's a drop down here. You can select the different dehumidifiers. They're just getting started. I just wanted to show you that. But also, if we now look at our visit 1, here's our air readings that we took. There they all are. Here's our moisture readings. So it's really that simple to take your first daily readings, add your equipment, and set up a job. It's really that simple. And there's the job overview screen. Okay. So that is showing you what we have today. And one more thing that we have today is DryMAX XL, which is the first data logging dehumidifier with Bluetooth. Also, as many of you know, it's 2 in the space of 1. So compared to other extra large dehumidifiers, it only takes up half the space. You do get XL performance. There is quiet mode. You get the free DryLink app. And as I mentioned, we have 1 million hours of runtime in our cloud. So it's proving that people are making use of the Bluetooth and DryLink Bluetooth functionality and DryLink in our cloud. Okay, so now that we've done that, I want to get into the products that we're launching and tell you how they work in the ecosystem. So the DryTAG, as I mentioned, it's a Bluetooth beacon with a built-in accelerometer. Now, the accelerometer makes it different from other beacons. You might know there's other tracking beacons out there, but they only have that function, which is tracking. So ours, because it has an accelerometer, that's a device that measures motion. So what happens is when you turn on, like if you put this on an AirMAX and you turn it on, it starts vibrating. So it knows it's on. So if it knows it's on, it can tell the DryPHONE or the app that it's on or off. So if I had a DryPHONE and I left it behind on the job and it was communicating with this DryTAG and somebody turned off one of the air movers, you could have an alert pushed to you in real time. Another function, and this is what other tracking beacons do, it can provide the last known location on a map. Now, I do want to say that you know, this does help with you know, not losing inventory, but we're looking in the future to develop out more of the inventory and tracking functionality. So we'll be looking to get input from contractors to help develop that out. It automatically records the usage. Whoops, let's go back. It automatically records the usage and the serial number and sends that to the drying report. And you can put this on any piece of equipment. So you could take your air mover today, put it on there. It'll sense when it's on. It'll know how long it's been on. If you type in the serial number, it'll know the serial number and automatically put that on the drying report. So you can attach this to any brand of equipment. There's no monthly usage fee, and that's also a big differentiator. Most Bluetooth tracking beacons have a monthly fee associated with them. The MSRP on the DryTAG is $49, and I know we will be coming out with some specials on that, so look for that. Okay, so this I just want to show you in the app. Here's, you know, showing in the alerts, and we're going to walk through it, but it's showing you if equipment turned off, you could get an alert. Here's what it looks like. If this is out of range, you'll get a map showing you the last known location of that unit. Now, if you're in range, the map goes away because it figures, why do you want to know you're standing right there? Okay, and then this screen is showing you, again, like I showed you before, if you put this on a piece of equipment, it calculates the days, it puts the serial number. All this is just automatically added to the drying report. Okay, so now I have a video. My colleague, Larry Carlson, is going to show you just how easy it is to add this to any piece of equipment. So he's going to add a DryTAG to an axial air mover. So I'm going to show you after this what you would do in the app, but Larry is going to show us that it really is as simple as putting in these 2 screws right into the plastic. We also have a sheet that we've created to show you, give you recommended spots on any Phoenix piece of equipment. And we also give suggestions if you're putting on other equipment to try and figure out where the best spot may be. So it is literally this easy to put it on a piece of equipment. Okay, and now what I want to show you is I'm going to make a piece of equipment in the app and associate it with a DryTAG and show you how that's done. So I go into the equipment tab and I'm going to create a piece of equipment. So I'm going to click the plus down here and it says add equipment. So I'm going to click on that. And being true to my word, we are going to call this the DE-VELO 24. And we are going to go down here. Well, wait a minute. We got to say this is an air mover and it's a low profile. We can type in the manufacturer's name and we can type in the model number and importantly, the serial number. And then once we have all the information in there, you can see there's a save and add another button. We're not going to do that. We're going to hit save and finish. So it makes it easier to add multiples of the same type. But we hit save and finish. Now it takes us to our company units. Now I just want to go and make sure that I show you what it looks like. So DE-VELO 24, here it is. This is what it would look like in the app. And you can see it has a serial number, model, manufacturer, and all these things that are needed. So now what I'm going to do is associate with a DryTAG. So you can see new DryTAG discovered. So I'm going to click on view units. Now this is the one we want. Normally you just have one. I have other ones in the office here running. We're going to select this one that's close by. Now we need to tell it, what are we going to associate it with? Well, we're going to put it with the DE-VELO 24. And here you can see the association. And now it's done. So it's that easy. And then we're not going to worry about these. These are some other ones that we're not worried about. Okay, so that's how you do it. Okay, now I want to talk about the AirMAX BLE. We're also launching this. Now, what's really great about that is it's a DryTAG pre-installed at the factory onto an AirMAX. And what that means is there's no setup in DryLink. So you can understand that if you have 100 air movers or 1,000, it could be time consuming to get it into the app. If you buy it associated at the factory, it just all populates in the app. You don't really have to do any setup other than the blue bar at the bottom. You just have to say, yes, that's my air mover one time. So no setup in DryLink, DryTAG already associated in the cloud, serial number automatically loads, and all the benefits we talked about with DryTAG, including no monthly fees. You can see the AirMAX BLE with the built-in DryTAG, MSRP $349. So you get a break if you're buying it already associated, because that's $26 higher than our normal AirMAX MSRP. Okay, and this is just showing what the AirMAX BLE looks like in the app with the Phoenix equipment. You get a nice picture. It's got the DryTAG banner here. You can see this one is out of range, tells the unit is off. It's got your battery strength. Last used by me. I last sampled it at this time, and here's where it happened. And this is the information. We saw this before. The only additional piece of information on here is the UUID. That's just a reference to the Bluetooth module. Okay, and then the last new product that I want to talk about is the DryPHONE. So this can give you remote monitoring and real-time notifications. So this is really where kind of some cool stuff happens in the app. So again, this is optional. You do not have to use this, but if you do, you get some additional benefits. So include, like I said, remote monitoring and real-time notifications. So what you would do is you'd select the equipment you want to monitor. You would then receive alerts in real time. You can actually enter daily readings remotely. You can rearrange your daily visits based on the actual conditions you're seeing on the job site, so that can also save time. And this is important. This is the Xactimate code, WTRRM. It's $55 a day for remote monitoring. The DryPHONE in the US is $349, which includes 1 year of data. and you get a heavy duty case with it too. So that includes the phone, the case, the activation fee, and 1 year data. For the second year, if you want to re-up your data, it'll be $99. Now, if you're in Canada, unfortunately, the data is a little bit more expensive. $399 for the phone, including all the same stuff, and then the second year is $149 for the data, but all the same stuff. Now, this is optional. You can use DryLink without this, but you get these additional cool benefits if you use it. Okay, so now I want to show you how you would set up a remote monitoring. So you would want to, if you were on the home screen, you'd want to click into the jobs screen, which is where I am. We're going to go into this Phoenix demo job. You can see it says job status alerts is disabled. So what we're going to do is click into that, and we're going to select enable. And once we do that, we're going to see 3 screens. It says place DryPhone in range of equipment. These are things we want to make sure people understand. You got to connect the DryPhone to a power source, because if you're going to leave it there for 3 days, it's going to eventually run out of battery. So you should need to plug it in. And lastly, leave the DryPhone at the job site. That's the only way to do remote monitoring. And down here, you can check this if you don't want to see this again. And then once you do all that, you will get this screen, which tells you to plug in all your equipment and turn it on and make sure it's within 30 to 40 feet. We've seen really quite good range with our Bluetooth, but it needs to be within range. And then, once you have everything how you want it, click OK. And by default, it selects all the smart equipment, because that's what you can monitor. You can't do remote monitoring on non-smart equipment. You can deselect equipment if you want to. I don't know why you would. You'd probably want to monitor everything. Once you have selected everything you want, you click OK. Now it shows job status alerts is now enabled. We see it's 6 units we're monitoring. Now you can go into the recipients, and you can select anybody in your company that you want to receive these job status alerts. Now let's see what all we have. There's quite a lot of alerts. You can turn any of these on and off. There's DryTAG offline with a duration. Almost all of them have some kind of duration. There's the equipment turned off. DHU offline with a duration. Then you can see we have a low and high chamber RH settings, and those are adjustable. They show 20 and 60, but you can go into any of those you want and change them. So then we have a low and high temperature for a chamber, and you can set thresholds for that. And then we have another one called chamber GPP slow to decrease. So what we're saying here is, if in 12 hours, which is right here, I don't decrease in the chamber by 10 GPP, please let me know something is not going right. So you can set up whatever duration and threshold you want. And again, you can select who gets these, and you can select if you want to use them. There was one alert at the bottom about DrySense, but we don't have that product out yet. So now you can see all the ones with a bell on it are being monitored. This one has an active alert on it. So it's letting you know that, because the bell is now blue. So those are all the jobs and the ones that are being monitored with the bell. Okay, so there's some additional alerts that you can do, and I want to show you those now. So this is starting with, this is showing you actually from the last one. We're showing one, this is a job status alert, and we're showing you there's one that you haven't viewed. The job name is DryLink Commercial. But what I want to show you is there's another thing called equipment alerts and job management alerts, and those could go to different people. So I'll start by showing you the equipment alert settings. Now, equipment alerts are things that you might want to send to a maintenance person or the service department or somebody like that, somebody who is keeping track of the equipment and keeping it maintained. So again, you'd select your recipients, and they can get notifications for filter change. You can set the amount of hours until you are reminded to change the filter. This not connected is actually a little bit different. This one is saying, hey, if you have smart equipment and it hasn't reported in on anybody's app in a certain amount of days, let somebody know because it might be lost. And then there's the low battery for the DryTAG or the DrySense, which is a future product. So you can receive alerts there, and people can change the batteries. And then the system protection is is a notification that you would get if the dehumidifier either saw too high a temperature, and so it shut itself down and put itself in system protection mode, or if it was low on refrigerant. That could be the other reason for the system protection mode. Then there's the reservoir full at the bottom. This could be either a kinked hose, or maybe the float switch just mechanically doesn't go down, or maybe there's an issue with the pump, but for some reason your reservoir is full and it's not going down. I'm going to show you also job management alerts. You can see all our filter alerts. We have equipment and we just, we're just doing tests, so we're not really paying attention to those. So job management would be maybe somebody in the office that's doing the billing or things like that. So here we have, you can select the recipients again. We have job completed notification, job started notification, and also a job duration if it's taking too long. So those are all notifications you can get. And so that's just showing you all of the alerts that you can receive in DryLink. Okay, so now I want to talk about the value to the contractor. So we have here a free DryLink app with an amazing drying report. That is updates in real time via a link that you can share with anybody. You can save tons of time taking readings with smart equipment. You can do remote monitoring and get alerts and bill to Xactimate for this. You can do inventory tracking that we're planning on future improvements to, but today what we have is last known location, and I showed you what that looked like. It's simple and intuitive, especially for those who do everything on apps and cell phones today. Okay, so this also is exciting to me, and I want to make sure I share this with you. Coming in 2020, so the DrySense is a moisture content sensor that you can't see it, but there's pins on the back of the DrySense unit over here, and what you can do is press that into drywall. You can also, it has an attachment that allows you to screw into anything else like wood or any other materials that you might want to screw into to take your moisture material level readings. Also, DryMax BLE, we are going to upgrade the current DryMax to include Bluetooth. So it'll have all that same Bluetooth functionality found in the DryMax XL, except it will not have quiet mode. And that will be coming out hopefully soon. There will also be an upgrade kit which will allow you to basically change out the display board and have your existing DryMax now have Bluetooth functionality. And even more exciting than all of that, DryTAG RH, what this does, it has all the functionality of the DryTAG, but we're adding temperature and RH sensing. So what's great about that is you can add this to any existing dehumidifier, and it can now become a smart dehumidifier that's part of the DryLink ecosystem. So we're going to give recommendations on how to attach it, but basically it goes on the inside of the outlet grill and measures temp and RH. This sensor will also be good if you want to automate the unaffected area or other things like maybe an HVAC reading. Okay, so the future really is connected products. It seems clear. The upcoming DryLink ecosystem includes the DryMax BLE, the DrySense, and the DryTAG RH, which I just shared with you. And I also want to point out that we are open to integration with other equipment vendors, and we're actively talking to people about this. So you may say, well, I have a meter that I like to use. Well, we'll work with other meter vendors. We're not excluding people that want to be part of the ecosystem. Same thing with software. I can tell you that we're actively talking to other software companies. And our vision is if you're using another software, let's say you're using Encircle, and you want to keep using Encircle, well, we would rather do an integration so that you could do all your other functionality. You could send your job information to DryLink, and when you're on the job, you open our app, you get all the readings, and it sends it back to your software. So we're talking to those companies now. Today, we don't have those integrations. So today, you would be using our app and using our drying report, but we're definitely working on that. And all of this should save time and money for contractors. Okay, now we have a special offer for any webinar registrant who signs up for a DryLink account today And all you'd have to do to receive this free DryTAG is send an email to me with, all you got to do is put in the header or the subject free DryTAG, and then just put your address or where you want this shipped in your name, and we'll send you a free DryTAG. And you're going to see my contact information in just a minute. So now we're going to move to questions and comments, and Jenny's going to help me out with that, and I'll do my best to answer them. And while we're doing that, I'm going to leave this up so you can see over here this is my email address. Down here, you can go to get more information on how-to videos, DryLink training, and quick start guides. So now we're going to open it up for questions. And Jenny? All right. We'll just see if anybody has any questions that they want to add at this time. And just some things I want to point out. So the DryTAG currently, or the list price on the DryTAG is $49. We are going to be running some specials on that, so be looking for that. The DryPHONE is currently available, and the AirMAX BLE is also currently available. All right, we'll just see if we have any more questions or any questions. If we don't, we'll close the webinar. Anything? Okay, well, thank you everyone for your time. I really appreciate it. If anything comes up, you can always send a question to my email address, and I'll do my best to answer it. Thank you so much for attending.